Ethan Carter never expected his Saturday morning grocery run to turn into the beginning of something extraordinary. As a single dad, his life was built around routines: packing lunch for his daughter Lily, school drop-offs, soccer practice, and the occasional stolen hour at the gym. Romance, weddings, and fancy dinners belonged to another world. A world he'd left behind the day his wife passed away. That's why he was caught off guard when a stranger approached him in the cereal aisle, her voice soft yet urgent. "Excuse me, this might sound strange, but would you consider being my date to a wedding?" Ethan turned, confused. The woman standing before him looked polished yet vulnerable, clutching her phone like it carried the weight of the world. Her name was Claire, and before he could even process her request, she explained in a rush. "My ex is getting married tomorrow. My family expects me to show up, but I can't bear the idea of walking in alone. You look kind. I know this is crazy, but I need someone real, someone who doesn't know that part of my life." Ethan blinked, torn between disbelief and empathy. He thought about Lily waiting at home, about how messy life could get, and yet something in Claire's eyes, a mix of strength and desperation, moved him. Against all logic, he nodded. "All right, I'll go." The next evening, Ethan found himself in a tailored suit he hadn't worn in years, walking beside Claire into a lavish reception hall. She introduced him to her relatives as if they had been close for months, and Ethan played along, smiling, shaking hands, being the safe presence she so clearly needed. But as the evening unfolded, Ethan began to notice small details. Claire's laughter seemed rehearsed. Her smiles faltered whenever her ex-husband, Daniel, glanced her way with his new bride. Her hands trembled under the table, though she tried to hide it. During the dinner, Claire leaned close and whispered, "I'm sorry for dragging you into this. You don't know how much it means just to not feel invisible tonight." Ethan offered a quiet reassurance. "You're not invisible. Not tonight. Not ever, if you don't want to be." And that's when it happened. Claire's mother, a stern-looking woman with sharp eyes, leaned across the table and said, "Claire, you never told us about him. He seems like a good man." Her voice softened, almost approving. For a fleeting moment, Claire looked both shocked and relieved. The night continued with dancing, laughter from other guests, and Ethan trying his best to keep the heaviness from consuming Claire. When the bride and groom shared their first dance, Claire's facade cracked. She excused herself, slipping out into the garden, where fairy lights flickered in the twilight. Ethan followed. He found her sitting on a bench, tears streaking down her face. "I thought I was over it," she confessed, her voice breaking. "But seeing him move on so easily, it feels like I was never enough." Ethan sat beside her, silent for a moment. Then he shared something he rarely voiced. "When my wife died, I kept asking myself what I could have done differently. If I could have saved her somehow. For years, I felt like I wasn't enough either. But I realized, it's not about being enough for someone else. It's about being true to yourself." Claire's tears slowed, her eyes searching his face. "You really lost your wife?" He nodded. "Cancer. 3 years ago. It's just me and Lily now. And honestly, I thought my heart was done with nights like this. But maybe life has a way of surprising us." The words hung between them, heavy yet hopeful. And then, the unexpected twist. As Claire reached for a tissue in her clutch, a folded letter slipped out. Ethan picked it up before she could, handing it back, but not before he noticed the handwriting scrawled on the envelope. It wasn't hers. It was Daniel's. Seeing Ethan's puzzled look, Claire sighed. "He wrote me this the day he left. I never opened it. I've carried it for 2 years, afraid of what it might say." Her hands trembled as she finally tore it open. The letter was short, filled with regret. Daniel confessed he'd left not because of her flaws, but because of his own fears, his inability to be the man she needed. He admitted he'd always admired her strength, even when he couldn't match it. Tears streamed freely now, but these were different, tears of release. Claire looked at Ethan, her voice raw. "All this time, I thought I wasn't enough. And it was never about me." Ethan placed a hand over hers, steady and warm. "Exactly. You've been carrying someone else's mistake like it was your burden. But tonight, you let it go." For the first time that evening, Claire smiled genuinely. It wasn't forced or masked or brittle. It was real. Back inside, music filled the air as couples danced under chandeliers. Claire surprised Ethan by pulling him onto the floor. As they moved slowly, She leaned against him and whispered, "Thank you. For being here. For saying yes when you didn't have to. You don't know what you've given me tonight." Ethan tightened his hold, a quiet strength in his embrace. Sometimes, showing up is the bravest thing we can do. And tonight, you showed up too. Under the glittering lights, surrounded by strangers, two people who had walked into that wedding carrying old wounds found something neither expected, a chance at healing, and perhaps the beginning of something new.